Hello! Matchday 5 again didn't go to plan. I took way too many bold risks here, especially with the Group C fixtures featuring Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Victoria Plzen, and Inter Milan. But of course it didn't happen. I really shot high there, and that sacrificed me many easy points. Oh, that Tottenham Sporting one though, if only that last minute goal counted. And then some of them I just shouldn't have thought twice for, like for Ajax versus Liverpool. I originally said 1-4, but then I changed it after Liverpool's poor performance against Nottingham Forest. Let's go on to matchday 6. Hopefully we can get some better results here. This is the final match day of the UCL group, so it's a massive one. There are a lot of teams that have been confirmed to qualify for the next round, and there are some teams that have confirmed to be in the Europa League. But there is still a lot to be determined here on this final match day. Some groups more than others. My personal favorite, where anything's still possible, is Group D with Tottenham, Sporting, Frankfurt, and Marseille. I'll share my thoughts. Hopefully they're not as bad as the last two match days. We got to pick up the points here. I'm in 117th place at the moment in my own league. But anyway, feel free to join. The link is in the description below. Hit that like button on this video. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes. And let's get into my matchday 6 predictions. Starting off with Bayer Leverkusen versus Club Brugge. Congrats to the Belgian club for qualifying for the knockouts. So many people doubted this side, but they have a lot of great attackers proving their worth out there. They did just crumble to Porto on the last match day, losing 4-0 after they already beat them 4-0. If only we saw that matchup in the knockout stages. But even with that hefty loss, they still sit at first, just 1 point in front of Porto. Meanwhile, Leverkusen are in last place, but they still want to secure Europa League. After disappointing Atletico Madrid in the last fixture where they drew with them 2-2, after Yannick Carrasco couldn't complete the script after that 95th minute penalty miss, that might have been the most FIFA-themed way to end a match I've seen in a while. Club Brugge had such an incredible start, but I think they're going to continue to slip a little bit. Leverkusen are going to have a lot more hope and belief now after that fixture against Atletico Madrid. Xabi Alonso's takeover, it's unpredictable. He's been back and forth since he's taken charge, but I think he can put off a decent display here, get a result against Club Brugge at home. I'm going for a 1-0 Leverkusen win. Now for the other match in this group, Porto versus Atletico. Again, similar situation, a team fighting for first place, fighting a team that just wants to stay in the European competitions. That Europa League spot is in Atletico Madrid's hands for now, but if Leverkusen win their match and Atletico don't, it's going to be trouble. Look at these popular predictions. Most people are saying that Atletico Madrid will be able to get the win and go to Europa League. But Porto's confidence should be booming to just finish the job, potentially get first place. Will we see Atletico Madrid get upset once again? The thing is, both these sides had to face each other in the last group stage round as well. So this is their 4th time coming up against each other in the past 2 years. And Porto still hasn't gotten a result against Atletico Madrid. If they get the result this time, though, it could be massive, especially if that prediction with Leverkusen versus Club Brugge comes true. Anything's possible here, especially with Atletico Madrid's very disappointing results recently. Do you know what? If these results come true, I'm going to say Atletico Madrid failed to qualify for the Europa League. Would be a huge shocker. I originally predicted them to get first in this group. This group was so doable for them. And now they might not play in any European competition possible. I'm going to say it happens and it finishes in a 1-1 draw. Now for that exciting Group D, which I talked about earlier, where anything's possible still. First up, Marseille versus Tottenham. Tottenham really relying on cutting it down to the wire in their recent matchups. They failed to get that late goal like I mentioned against Sporting last time, but they did it against Brentford in the Premier League, scoring a 92nd minute goal. If this side fails to get those 3 points though, they could very much fall down in that table depending on the other results. I think it's either going to be 2-1 for Tottenham or 1-1. I think they can at least grab a point here. But Tottenham being Tottenham, who knows? They bottled the Conference League last year. I know they had a coronavirus issue. They had to forfeit a match, but still, they shouldn't have had it down to the wire in the first place. And here it is, down to the wire once again. But I'm going to say they grab a 2-1 win here. So that has them keeping that top spot and Marseille at the bottom. So for that second or third, who's going to win? Sporting or Frankfurt? These sides share the same exact amount of points. They both have some passionate fans. It's going to be an absolute show here. I feel like a lot of neutrals will be neglecting this match, but they definitely shouldn't. Although Frankfurt have been in very hopeful form recently, beating the likes of Leverkusen 5-1, beating Mönchengladbach 3-1, and then just recently beating Marseille. They had a rough start to this Champions League campaign, and they've really bounced back. So if form's going their way, they actually should be winning this. But in my original predictions, I backed Sporting to get second place. So I'm going to have to back them once again. Sorry, Frankfurt, but I'm going for a 2-1 Sporting win. Now for the Group C fixtures, unfortunately, none of these matchups necessarily matter too much. Barcelona is already confirmed to be in the Europa League, so even if Victoria Plzen do get that upset, it won't really matter apart from memeing Barcelona. And then Bayern versus Inter, both have already sealed that knockout spot, and both have confirmed their place in this group. So for that matchup, I don't really see either of those teams going all out. Since none of these matchups matter too much, I'll be brief about this one. I'm going to say Barcelona grab a 3-0 win against Victoria Plzen. And then for that Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan match, it really is a toss-up because I don't know how hard either of these teams are going to go for this. I'm going to say it finishes 2-2. Now for Rangers versus Ajax, unless Rangers are able to score 5 goals against Ajax without conceding any, there is no way they make it to that Europa League spot. Unless that result happens, unfortunately, this is a matchup where it really won't matter all too much. I can't see Ajax blowing that massive lead from the last fixture. I could see Rangers maybe picking a point here, but nah, I'm going to say Ajax are able to win. Maybe a little bit narrowly. I'll go for that popular 2-0 prediction. Now for Liverpool versus Napoli, actually a very interesting one to break down because obviously this is played at Anfield. Liverpool do very well at home. However, Napoli are undefeated this season in all competitions, and they're getting some massive results out there. They already got a massive result against Liverpool on the first match day, but a lot of people are still going for a Liverpool win here, I guess because they're at home, and they've already beaten the likes of Manchester City, who were also undefeated this season, until they went to Anfield. I think Napoli definitely has what it takes to continue that unbeaten streak, but Liverpool don't go down and out here. It finishes in a thrilling 2-2 draw. Now for Shakhtar versus RB Leipzig, a very important matchup in this group actually. RB Leipzig still with the chance to get that top place spot if Celtic can somehow upset Real Madrid in the other fixture, and Shakhtar already beating Leipzig head to head, so if they get a result here, they will share the same amount of points as them and will definitely get that knockout spot. They've been really impressive this season. I heavily doubted this side at the beginning due to the fact that they got rid of so many international players, but I kept on to one key man, Mudryk, who has been on absolute fire. The problem is with Shakhtar, they actually could be doing so much better than they are now. They haven't closed off games 100%. They could have won many. They could have even beaten Real Madrid. They just weren't clinical enough that match. And they also could have beaten Celtic in that last match day. Definitely feel a bit bad for Sika. The one match where they actually were able to be absolutely clinical though was against Leipzig in the first fixture, and it was away. So I wouldn't rule them out just yet, but look at that. Everybody's favoring Leipzig to win here. And after their massive performance against Real Madrid in the last match day, they look to be the favorite for sure. This matchup looks to be easy to figure out on paper, but on the surface, it's way more 50-50 than people make it out to be. This feels like the toughest one to predict at the moment. I'm going to go for that Leipzig win, 2-1. Now for Real Madrid versus Celtic, although Real Madrid did not necessarily have the most decent Champions League displays in the last 2 match days where they drew to Shakhtar and lost to Leipzig, I said it last time, but I think those mini slips they had are over. This side is too incredible. The UCL is in their blood. They're coming up against the weaker side on paper and in this group. I'm going to be brief here, go for that very popular 3-0 prediction. Now for Maccabi Haifa versus Benfica. For some reason it already says I selected 2-1, even though I didn't, but actually that's what I'm going to go with. The reason why I'm going for such a low scoreline here is because Maccabi Haifa are actually a very tough team to play against at home. We already saw it against Juventus. So maybe they can pull some kind of upset here, but Benfica have been way too fantastic, also undefeated in the Portuguese league and in the Champions League. The fact that they beat Juventus twice and remained undefeated to PSG is also insanely impressive. Benfica definitely, I think, can grab 3 points here, but it might be more close than people think. That could age terribly. Maybe I should give Benfica another goal. You know what? I will. They've just been too good lately. I'm going for 3-1. But for the other matchup, Juventus versus PSG, Juventus right now have that Europa League spot, but if Maccabi Haifa pull through, it's over for them if they can't beat PSG. PSG look to be the favorites right now with that front 3 absolutely tearing it up this year, getting outrageous numbers. Juventus did seem to kind of step it up towards the end of that Benfica match, but still it wasn't enough, and Benfica were by far the better side throughout the 90 minutes. Even though they're playing in Turin, I don't see Juventus getting a result here. They've really not been in the best form under Allegri. Outdated tactics as a whole. I'm going to go for an interesting result here. Not many people are predicting. I'll say it finishes 2-4. For PSG. Now for Copenhagen versus Borussia Dortmund. Copenhagen look down and out in this group, and Dortmund want to continue flying high. I don't see Copenhagen picking up a result here. I'm going 3-0 for Borussia Dortmund. Manchester City versus Sevilla. City recently don't look to be as threatening in front of goal as they were earlier this season, only beating Leicester 1-0. Drawing with Dortmund 0-0 in the last match day, but to be fair, Haaland wasn't playing against Leicester. Regardless, though, this is Sevilla, and even though they changed their manager to Sampaoli, I'm still not convinced with this guy. I don't think he can pick up a result against Manchester City. They're going to want to close out this group in style. They're not going to lose to a side that's been in very questionable form throughout this season. I'm going for a pretty big Manchester City win. Again, 3-0. 2 3-0s in this group. Now, the last group we're looking at, Group E, Obviously my favorite group, but I'm not in favor of what's going on right now. Dinamo Zagreb, like I predicted, would have a very strong start in the Champions League campaign, and now it looks like they're going to crash to 4th. Yes, they already beat Chelsea, but Chelsea are looking a lot better now, even though they did just lose to Brighton. But still, overall, looks like they're in a much better track. Maybe Dinamo Zagreb can get a result away. At the Stamford Bridge, though, it's going to be tough. Obviously, I'll stay hopeful for Dinamo and keep an eye on that match, but we looked dreadful against AC Milan. Ljubicic had a terrible display. Really sloppy defensive efforts in that match. I'm a bit disappointed. So, unfortunately, I hate to say it. You know what? I'll give Dinamo some benefit here. I'll say they get a goal, but it's going to finish 3-1 for Chelsea. And then for the other matchup, which I skipped, AC Milan versus Salzburg. Interestingly enough, even though Milan are in 2nd place, the only team they were able to beat twice was Dinamo Zagreb. They lost to Chelsea twice, and they drew RB Salzburg. But I think they can get a win here. They're going to want to finish strong and not bottle this to RB Salzburg. Look at that point gap, by the way. If Salzburg do win this match, they will top AC Milan, and Milan will go to Europa League. If Dinamo lose to Chelsea, of course. Point gap in this group is close. Anything's possible, but I don't want to doubt Milan at the San Siro. Salzburg are a fantastic side, but I'm going to go for 2-0 for AC Milan. Well, there you go, guys. Those are all my predictions for match day 6. Hopefully, I do better at the end because the group stage predictions so far have not been going well. But it'll be interesting regardless because it's the most decisive match day in these group stages. So let me know your thoughts in the comments as always below. Thank you all for making it to the end. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. Boa noite.